This is that book that I had promised you. That is the book that I had promised you, that I was going to reveal. Now, let's go back to Surat al-Fatiha. Remember what in Surat al-Fatiha, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala showed us to make a dua. And what was the dua? There's two that I had mentioned. There was a supplication that the mu'mineen do. Yeah, okay, that was praise. After the praise there was dua. And what was it? Okay, that was it. But before that I also mentioned إِيَّاكَ نَعْبُدُ وَإِيَّاكَ نَسْتَعِينُ. Oh Allah, give us tawfiq to worship you, and give us tawfiq to seek your aid. Very good. And then the dua after that. Okay, let's say we don't accept that that is the dua. Let's move on to the second one. اهدنا الصراط المستقيم. Oh Allah, guide us to the right path. And as an answer to that dua, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala revealed Alif Laam Mim ذَلِكَ الْكِتَابُ لَا رَيْبَ فِيهِ. This is the book in which there is. And so Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala answered our dua that we are making, that when you are making dua to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, oh Allah, guide us to the path on those who you have blessed. The answer came, ذَلِكَ الْكِتَابُ لَا رَيْبَ فِيهِ. Look in this book. This is that book in which you will find guidance. Okay? So we'll explain this as we go further. ذَلِكَ الْكِتَابُ لَا رَيْبَ فِيهِ. Now, after that, هُدًى لِلْمُتَّقِينَ. Huda. Huda. Huda is guidance. Make sure that they can see. It is sharing. Okay. Huda means guidance. Hidayah is also guidance. They from the same root, slightly different meanings. But Huda is guidance from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Huda lil muttaqin. Huda al-muttaqin. Al-muttaqin. Muttaqin. Al-muttaqin. And Taqwa is the masdar. Taqwa. When I draw a line like that on top, it means two dots. Okay, it's just the habit that I have. Taqwa. Al-muttaqin, those who have plural. It's the plural of those who have taqwa. And what is taqwa? So let's look at the meaning of that. Taqwa means God-fearing, God-fearingness. It means conscientious. Somebody who is conscientious. Somebody who has a conscience. But that's the literal meaning. Let's look at the Shara'i meaning, which means that the meaning that we understand in Islam of that word. Taqwa means, literally also, it means to protect oneself from an object of fear. Taqwa, protect oneself from an object of fear. He has taqwa. And what is he fearing or she fearing? What are they fearing? They fear Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, but we like not to say that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is, when we say we fear Allah, it means we have awe of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, we fear His punishment, we fear being cast out from the religion of Islam, we fear losing our iman, we fear doing sins that may drive us towards disobedience. That's what the fear is about. Because we love Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala also, right? And Allah's mercy is above His wrath. He is more merciful than wrathful. Okay. So, protecting ourselves from an object of fear, taqwa. That is the literal meaning. The Shari meaning means to leave prohibitions, to leave those things that Allah has prohibited, and to protect oneself from sin. Leave those things that are prohibited, protecting oneself from sin, which is really what we fear. Sin meaning guna, ma'asiyat, wrong actions. Okay. So al-muttaqeen, the ones who are conscientious, the ones who are God-fearing, the ones who fear the prohibitions, they keep away from those things that Allah has prohibited them. They avoid sin. They try to do good things. They always are aware that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is watching over them. And what does Ramadan do? Ramadan is a school of taqwa. It teaches us that Allah is there. We are more aware of the presence of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in Ramadan. We are more aware of our actions. We look at those things that we do, because shaitan has less maneuverability over you, less control over human beings, less his movement is limited in Ramadan. So taqwa comes out. You can see that you sort of think twice before you do something wrong in Ramadan. Okay. So hudal lil muttaqeen, guidance for those who are conscientious. Li in Arabic means for. Guidance for. Hudal lil muttaqeen, guidance for those who are muttaqeen. I'm going to give you some maratib of taqwa, of muttaqeen. There's maratib meanings rutba. Rutba means different levels of people who have taqwa. The first level is for the awam, which is common. Awam is accepting faith, believing in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and safeguarding themselves from disbelief. Believing in Allah and safeguarding themselves from disbelief. Come forward. Huh? The levels of taqwa. Okay, so the first level is for the common people. Every aspect of character, there's always going to be levels. There's going to be people who are the common, there are people who are in the middle, and then there's those who are elite. They are only above that. The next level, the middle level, is following all the commandments of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and leaving all the prohibitions of Allah. Following those things that Allah wants us to obey Him in, and turning away from those things that lead to that are disobedience of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That's the middle level. And the elite is leaving all that distracts from Allah. So you'll find people who are amongst the elite, not only that they just they just obey Allah and they avoid the prohibitions, but in addition to that, they may, for instance, they may eat a little bit just to stay alive, right? Whereas we eat full plates, right? Satiate ourselves. So it's not prohibited. They can eat more if they want to, but they want to avoid all those things that distract them from Allah. Allah wa malaikatahu yusalluna ala nabiyya ayyuhalladhina amanu sallu alayhi wa sallimu taslima. Allahumma salli ala sayyidina wa maulana Muhammadin wa ala ali sayyidina wa maulana Muhammadin wa barik wa sallim. Wa ma alayna illa al-balagh al-mubin.